YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, it's the end of another week. It's Saturday morning here at the moment and we've only got the morning in the shed. We're heading out to nephew's little daughter's christening at lunchtime with a couple of hours drive. The christening's not till tomorrow, but we're taking the opportunity to stay with friends and have mate Mick out in Mergen there, and we like to catch up and play up a bit and lead each other on a bit and bloody then blame each other the next day, so that's a good thing. But pardon me, through the week I did a little bit of filming on the spare wheel bracket. I'm not sure yet whether we'll put that in a stew or whether we'll have that as this little separate project, as so to speak. Or we also did a little bit of setting up on the mill for the TE20 Ferguson axle puller. And so depending on, they're all too long to fit in a stew. They're probably okay to go within their own right, being probably half an hour or more each. So pardon me. Yeah, we'll just see what we do with that. But like through the week, jumped on Evil Bay again. And last week when I was doing the vice jaws here, I thought I'd run an end mill down the ends, make them nice and square and true, because at the moment it's just a cut finish. And I went through my little collection of end mills, and I had roughing end mills that would make it rough, but they'd chew the end off. And I have end mills that'll like fly cut the top. But when it come to one that was 20 mil deep or 3/4 of an inch deep on the sides, I had a 1/2 inch one. I have a couple of Sutton P&N sets, and one's a 4-flute end mill and the other one's 2-flute slot drills, and I try and keep them in good nick for doing like a keyway or something like that on one of my old tractors or engines. And anyway, by the time I put the end mill down the side here, I realised that it was touch and go whether it would cover the work or not, so we didn't go that way. So on Monday or Tuesday morning, I jumped on the old Evil Bay and found some end mills. And in Australia there's a bloke I use, I've got a bit of stuff off him over the time, and he's got a store, or he runs under tooling station, and he gets a lot of new old stock, and he must buy engineering shops, when the engineering shops have big auctions and they shut down government departments or something like that. He must sneak in and buy job lots of stuff, then resell them on eBay for profit. So I've dealt with him a few times. The stuff comes quickly. I think I ordered it Tuesday morning and it turned up Thursday, so you can't complain about that. But with these end mills, I bought a bit of a selection off him just so I could have a few bases covered. And on my milling machine, it's a little Hafco Metal Master HM48 with digital readout, and it has a Morse Taper 3 spindle, and it's only a hobby machine. It's not for getting serious, and it's done me well. And I don't want to get rid of it, but I probably wouldn't mind finding a knee mill. There's a fella in town actually with a Cincinnati horizontal mill for sale, an old bloke in a Herbert No. 4 lathe, and it's been in the buy, swap and sell for weeks, and I might just talk to him about the horizontal mill. Just liked it. And after seeing Keith and Emma and all them with their little shapers, I wouldn't mind finding a shaper too. I've got a mate with a 12-inch one, but he doesn't use it, but he don't want to sell it either, so that's just how life goes, isn't it? So anyway, with our end mill purchases, I got a few different sizes. I bought the long ones because the problem I had was that I didn't have anything long enough to run down the side of something. So I bought 2 3/4 ones with 5/8 shanks, and look, they're okay. One of them's a little bit dull, and the other one's really sharp. So that's a nice thing to have. And I also bought, these are 11/16, 2 long 11/16 end mills, 4-flute with a 5/8 shank, and I have a little ER32 collet set that I can put up in my Morse 3 taper to look after these blokes. So I bought a couple of those too. And in here, he wrapped them well, all individual. And I bought a couple of 16mm ones with a 5/8 shank. And that one of them is, well, they're both pretty good, but one of them, it's just brand new. It's really good. And so, yeah, for a home hobby shop, that should have me covered for that for a little while. And with the, should be another one in here somewhere. Here it is. And with the Morse 3 tapered ones that can go straight into my mill, they're regrinds, like this one that says 1 inch. I've measured that and that's 7/8. So, and that's nice and sharp. That's a good one. I'm running out of bench space. I have to build another bench. Now this one here, it's marked 1.25 inch, but it's been ground over the years down to 1 3/16, and it's got a nice sharp edge on it, but it's had the corners all chowdered out on that one. So there's a mob in town, Ace Grinding, and they grind saw blades and all that for people. And I'm going to run them past them, well, this one anyway, past them, and see what it will be worth to have a regrind in town here. So we'll just see. This is a 5 flute. I think this one was inch, but I measured it at 7/8 again. No, 1.1 I think it might have been, but anyway, they're all regrinds, and this one's sharp as anything. It's got a really nice edge on it. Morse 3 taper. I haven't worked out the thread yet. I have another one over here. I've also got one Morse taper end mill already, a 7/8 one with a long shank, but I couldn't use it the other weekend because I bought it some time ago and I've never used it, and I just tucked it away. I thought, oh well, that'll be handy one day, I'll keep that. But I never actually got to working out what thread size it is. And the standard drawbar that I made for my mill last fortnight or 3 weeks, whenever it was, it's 1/2 inch Whitworth, 55 degree. And a lot of the stuff I've bought over the time, I've just known it was half Whitworth, but I went to put the end mill up in there and it's half UNC. So what we're going to have to do is make a drawbar, and I wouldn't mind betting these are half UNC as well. I haven't tried them yet, so we need to make a drawbar for them anyway, so we'll do that. But yeah, this last one, they're Tech brand, TEC, and yeah, this says 1.1 inch, but it measures at something like 1.16 inch. So it's been a great little haul. Most of them are around $20 each. I think the big sharp ones, they were about $30. But he did me a deal for a bundle sort of thing, and it worked out quite well. So, pardon me, I got a few coughs this morning. Don't know what's going on, and so yeah, that'll get me set up with that. I'm pleased about that. So we'll find a spot in the drawer with them, or for them, and we'll go from there. We'll use them as we see fit, and I'll take that one over to Ace Grinding in Bundaberg here and just see if they will grind it or if they can grind it. I've never had one done. I believe I've heard someone say they've done one for them, but I don't know. But I imagine these would be worth quite $1. I've never looked them up. Morse tapered at 3 to buy would probably be a bit hard to find. Perhaps I haven't bothered looking, but yeah, most mills are are 40, 50, whatever sort of thing. But my little one, I just thought it would be nice and solid. It's a real solid little way of going around a job, and it should be accurate to the spindle. We'll polish these spindles up. I've been thinking of taping all this end up and tape it up tight in a plastic bag or something like that, and bead blasting the taper here, because there is a little bit of surface rust on all of them. And I thought, well, by bead blasting the taper, and I can then give it a quick polish and just make sure it's okay. It's not going to, well, there's 2 reasons. One, that it'll fit up in my bore better and firmer, won't be any rocking. And the other one is make sure there's no dags and bits on it that are going to damage the spindle on the milling machine. So anyway, we'll soldier on with that. Pardon me. Another job is on the back of a Fordson Major tractor on the back of the front axle. The axle comes along, and then there's a support comes back to stop it tipping, and that hooks into the front of the sump on the tractor. At Queensland Tractor Spares, which is my business, we like our old vintage tractors and things, and we like to put a bit back into our hobby. And there was the Fordson Tractor Club of Australia. They have a great club, and they have a newsletter. And it's a newsletter comes out 3 or 4 times a year. And there was a company called Bepco in Australia, and they were an aftermarket tractor company, and they were sponsoring the newsletter, so it would go out to all the members Australia-wide. And anyway, they got bought out by a company called TVH, and TVH is look, I could be wrong, but I think it's a Belgian company, and they decided to stop doing it. So some of our customers coming in were telling us about it. So we approached the Fordson Club about picking up that sponsorship as a form of advertising, and we've taken it on. They've accepted us. We've done a deal, and they've taken us on for the next year. And so as part of that deal, we've been looking everywhere around the world for Fordson tractor parts, and we're just picking up our range because we're the only ones that advertise in the newsletter. That's the deal, and we have the whole back page, and then there's a little introduction one in the front page, and then we had to do up a heap of different size ads, long skinny ones, and all different shapes. And wherever they had a gap in the newsletter, they use our ads then to fill the gap in the newsletter. But in taking on the sponsorship for the Fordson Club, that's got us looking for Fordson parts. So some parts are readily available. Some parts are readily available overseas, like in England, Ireland, America. It's getting expensive to get our parts out of America at the moment, but we found a couple of good suppliers, and some of the pins that are hardened and things like that we just buy in, and by the time we buy the pin and the matching bush, we put them on eBay, on our Queensland Tractor Spares eBay store. We've got a great website, go and have a look at it. And it's building all the time. Like we're putting probably 20 parts a week, new parts a week, but we have to get the parts, do our research on them. I have friends with Fordson tractors. Sometimes I'll give them a couple of parts to try, and we'll fit them up and make sure we're happy for the public to have them. And I've got a couple of parts that the public's never seen. They're not that good. But anyway, we brought them in, a few $100 gone, and I could have had a couple of beers with that, couldn't I? If I'd only known. And, but look, part of that is this pin, and this pin is the pin for the back support of the front axle on a Fordson Major, an E27N, Major Power Major, Super Major, I believe. And anyway, to bring this one little pin in, it cost us over $36 just to get one to have a look at, and by the time you buy it in for $36, and then you put a markup on top of that, to get it out into the sale, into the marketplace, I believe it's unaffordable. Well, not unaffordable. There would be people with money to do it, but in bringing the pin in, it's only mild steel, and we've got to make them. We've got to do a quick run at home here. Pardon me, in the milling machine in the lathe, and we can knock them out for bugger all. And so part of our job this weekend, if we get time, if I get home in time, is I've got a bit of 3/4 bar here. It's just mild steel, and this is just soft too. So look, we're going to do a run of them. I'll price up a metre of 3/4 bright bar and go from that. I'll also price up a bit of 4140, and I'll see what time it makes. My time's nothing really when I'm having a play, but just for the product, I may even set up a little jig for it or something like that, so I can knock out 10 or a dozen. And in knocking out 10 or a dozen, we don't know how they're going to sell. 10 or a dozen might sell in 12 months, it might sell in 10 years. So we don't know. We won't go too mad with it. And but Whether we get to film that this week, I don't know, but that's coming up. Another little project is we bought some cables in, tachos and cables in from America, and this is a speedometer cable, 128 speedometer cable, and it's going on a farm haul tractor, but we sent it out to our customer, and the cable where it sticks out here needs to be shortened. The inner doesn't stick out far enough at this other end here. It doesn't stick out far enough to stick into the tacho. And so what we're going to have to do, and we've done it before, it's a bit of a fiddle, but to keep the customer happy is no problem. And that will then give us a measurement, so once more we can check the quality of our parts before they go out. And so with this cable, it's like a little skinny black snake, and this cable where it sticks out the end here, that's about 3/4 of an inch. We need that to 1.25 inches to engage. So what we have to do is we have to take this end off, shorten the cable, open this up so it'll re-crimp, and sit it back and get a pair of pliers and re-crimp it again. And it works. Because the re-crimping crimps it back into the soft plastic again, the cable will stay there. So the end will stay there, and it's a good fix. It's, the local fella in town that does the cables is a VDO. Well, there's a bloke in town called Instrument Services in Bundy, and Dougie, and when I was doing the John Deere 420 tacho up, and tachometer and rev counter, and rev same thing really, isn't it? And an hour meter I was trying to say. I took it to him, and for $80 he revamped it. He couldn't get the numbers working on the tumbler without spending a lot of money, and we didn't need that, so it's fixed at the moment. But he can do a lot of stuff, and if you ever got any gauges that need looking at, or you're doing vintage cars or tractors and that, I think of sending it to Instrument Services in Bundy. He does a great job, and he's one of those blokes that you take gauges to some place and they look at them and say, no, they're rooted, here's a new one. But he understands that if it's an old bit of gear, a vintage tractor or vintage car, something like that, he'll actually take the glass out and put a new glass in for you, and roll it over nicely and do it up. So anyway, there's a free ad for him. I'll have to go and bloody hit him up now, won't I? But look, what we'll do, we'll work on this cable and just see if we can pop an end off here. Pop an end off. We'll have to measure how much we shorten it by, and we'll put it back on and we'll crimp it again. So crimping it, you can do it with just pliers, work your way around with pliers. I have got somewhere, and I'm going to have to find it, a crimper for some coaxial cable for your UHF radios, and boy, it looks the same. But I've never tried it, so we'll work with that too. So anyway, look, stay tuned. We'll have a bit of stuff around in the shed this morning before we have to go, and see what we get done. We might do a tack onto the wheel one, or the axle puller, and do this anyway. If I do this, the man's out that way. It's 2.5 hours west of us, so if I get this cable done this morning, we can drop it out with our friends out there, and instead of having to post it from Bundaberg or him coming to Bundaberg to pick it up, we can leave it out there, and he can just pop into town 10 k's. He doesn't live far out of Wandai, so he can probably just come and get it, and that'll be a saving and a bit of customer service. So anyway, stay tuned. We'll work our way through. What we normally do with these is just get the MAP gas and heat the plastic up a little bit, and just grab a pair of pliers gently and take it off. I notice this one's got a slight little pip in there as well, so I don't know if that's going to affect us or not, but anyway, we'll give it a bit of a go. There you go. So what we have to do now is, because that has a hex, we have to open that up with a punch. We had 3/4 of an inch sticking out of here before, and we want 1.25 inches, so we have to cut this back by 1/2 inch and then put this back on and re-crimp it. Okay, we'll go and open this up and see how we go with it all. Right, we have our little hex boss there. This one's got a couple of little pips in it, so you'll just see. There's a beam runs under here. This is just a little bit of steel to sit it on. So what we need to do is pop a little punch down in. And round that out a little bit. Open it up so it can sit down there a little bit easier over this next piece of plastic we have to come over. And I might try and get that a little bit better yet. And that's a nice round piece to sit over there. So that sits over the plastic nice and neatly. So we might shout ourselves a little bit more length here. And we'll measure 1/2 inch. We'll knock 1/2 inch off here. I'll go and get the little grinder for that, the little Makita cordless grinder with a 1mm disc, and that should leave us a nice tidy edge. Okay, I'll shift some stuff from behind there. So you actually have a chance of seeing what we're doing. And we need to take about 1/2 inch off the end here. It looks like a coil's been stretched, so we'll take a little bit more. So about here somewhere is good. So now this here should go up over there nicely. You can screw it on a bit. And before we actually have a crack at crimping, we can poke the cable back through. And see how we go for 1.25 inches. Now, this is being crimped on the end here square too, so if we need to come back a bit, that's no problem. .112, so we could actually do with a bit more. I'll just check if this is going on. All the way. It feels like it. So pull that tight. .125 seems a lot. Anyway, we'll pop this off again. We'll just take a little bit more. Pull the cable well back out first. We'll go to the end of the plastic, and that should give us plenty. Clean all the dags off. We'll set him up in the vise a bit more even. Poke the cable down through the hole. Slide this end on. That's as far as it wants to go. Pull the cable right out. So 1.3 inches, so we're 50th hour over, and if they need to knock a little bit off the end here, there's nothing wrong with that. So what we need to do now is crimp this back on there. I'll go and find this ratchet crimper I have for the coaxial cables for the UHF two-way radios, and we'll just see if that works. Well, I had a bit of a look and I found them, and if you can see with these closed, we have a hex here, and I'm hoping that hex, or even this next one, probably the big one, is the right size for here. So we'll close that up, right up tight and measure. That's 300th hour. Now on the other end of the cable, there's already a crimp there for us to measure. So that crimp there, 300th hour. So hey, we're in this with a red hot shot. Okay, these ratchet crimpers, once you get them so far, you can't come back until you go right in again. So once you start doing it, you're committed. So let's give this a go. I'm not shy. That wasn't much of a crimp, was it? Let's try the next one down. Probably too much, I'll be swearing in a minute. There's the crimp, and we'll do one sideways, just that's not going to come out. It's not a bad crimp. Could be a bit tidier probably. And we'll just make sure that the cable wants to come through it. No, it's a bit tight. The cable doesn't want to. Okay, I might just run a little drill down and just open that up a little bit just to give it clearance. I'll measure the cable. I'll just drop a drill down and see how we go. Yeah, it's a nice tight crimp, too bloody tight. But anyway, that's the first time we've used that crimper. So we'll set it up in here nice and gently. We'll go and find a drill, and we'll just drop a drill down just to give ourselves clearance on the cable. And the cable, would probably be prudent to measure the cable too, wouldn't it? $125, 122, so that would be 1/8. 121. So we can drop a little 1/8 drill down there. That'll be okay. I'll go and get myself. Now, the only trouble we might have is if the inner's hard, but we'll just give it a go and try. the swarth out of there. Oh, pardon me, I have to. Look at that, lovely, tell your mum. Nice and free. Turns both ways, nice and free. So there you go, Bundy Bear's crimping station. That's good to know, that's a good crimp. It won't come off in a fit, and that should last. I'll bring it down here so you can actually see it behind the paper. So anyway, we'll just do the measurement again, just to make sure we haven't missed something. We're fairly close. Yep, we'll do. We'll take that out and give it to him, and then make sure the nut covers nicely. Yep. We'll give it to our customer and we'll see how we go. Well, that's it for another week. We're going to call that a wrap for a Bundy Bear stew. Today, or this morning, I'm going to get onto a few of our other projects and try and finish them so we can get the build videos up online for everyone to have a look at. Yeah, that cable worked out well. I'll be pleased to know how that goes. And yeah, look, that's it. I'll have to pack me beer and going to see me mate. I better loosen up my drinking arm a bit, because yeah, it'll probably. Well, I should have been practicing more at home, come to think of it. It's like the Olympics, you know, you don't just turn up at the Olympics and try and do well and have a beer, do you? So you got to practice all the time. So I worked my arm this morning a little bit, you know, just ease it, you know, give myself an arm massage and get my drinking arm right for having a couple with Mick, and we'll go from there. But anyway, enough of the bull. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and like and comment. We like to get back to you with the comments. And yeah, we'll catch up with you, eh? Catch you later.